Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah. Our scholars have mentioned four different sayings of the Prophet ﷺ, that if we implement them in our lives, then essentially we've implemented the perfect character. So I want to dedicate the next few videos using each one to focus on one of these ahadith and seeing how we might be able to apply it to our lives in ways that we might not have considered before. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Min husni islam al-mar tarkuhu ma la ya'nih." Part of perfecting our religion is leaving the things that don't concern us. This doesn't include speaking out when you see something wrong or advising others when needed, because those are two things that essentially we should be doing. We shouldn't sit back silently when we see something harmful or wrong taking place. And at the same time, when we see some advice is needed, we should be the first to go out and give that advice through the right methods and the right time, which maybe we can talk about in another time. But I'm talking about those times when we focus all of our efforts in our lives, basically, to know what's happening to other people and in other people's lives. We make it our job to know everything that there is to know about these people. And I get it. We are curious people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us like that. But there's a certain extent to, but how far our curiosity should go. Think about those people in our society who know everything that there is to know about everyone. They're always in on the latest news. Maybe you and I are part of these people. And ask yourself, why? What benefit do I get when I know everything there is to know about everyone around me? Is that going to help me, or is that going to help that other person even? Why do I spend so much of my time and effort following these types of, searching for this information? Think about how often we spend time on social media looking at people's updates and posts. How much of that time are we consciously or subconsciously even comparing these people to others, comparing them to ourselves, passing judgments on others? Think about if you see a picture of somebody who was just recently on vacation, and maybe you automatically think, oh, I asked that person the other day for some help for some money, and they basically told me they're broke, they couldn't afford it, so how are they on vacation now? And then you start thinking about all these other negative things, and you associate all these, negative characteristics with that one, because of that one picture that you saw. And, there are different, this occurs at different extents, but this is just something that we do it subconsciously even. So if we want to be people who perfect our religion, people who perfect our character, then we need to change our mindset and focus on ourselves first. We have two duties as, people in this world. We have to first take that duty towards ourselves and fix ourselves, and then we have that responsibility towards bettering the society that we live in. But how can I work towards fixing my society if I don't fix myself first? How can I ask my society to be good if I'm not good first? How can I help those around me if I don't help me first? I have to be the one who puts myself first, because nobody else is going to do that for me. And at the end of the day, only I'm going to be responsible and accountable for who I am and what I make of myself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تَسْأَلُوا عَنْ أَشْيَاءَ إِن تُبْدَ لَكُمْ تَسُؤْكُمْ. O you who believe, don't ask about things that if you find out their answers, they're going to end up hurting you. So this might be confusing to some people. Are there really questions out there that if I ask them, it's going to end up hurting me? There's such thing as unbeneficial questions. So there are actually some things that if we ask, they are not going to bring us any good. There are some questions that are better left unsaid. And I'm going to illustrate this through an example. Say you see a friend of yours who's out of sorts and seems to be, not their usual selves. And you can tell there's something going on. So out of care and concern for that person, you ask them, hey, are you okay? Is everything all right? And say they just brush it off. They don't want to talk about it. So you're left in a situation where on one hand, you're concerned about this friend of yours, but the other hand, how far should you keep asking? You don't want to invade their privacy. You don't want to keep asking and put them in an uncomfortable situation where they feel obligated to tell you, or they, it leads to other problems because they just don't want to share. And so you don't know what to do. You're kind of stuck trying to balance these two different things that are both important. So how do you do that? And it's a blurry line. It's really tough because every situation has its own answers. Every individual has their own way of being able to balance care for that person while still respecting their boundaries of privacy. But I can tell you that in all of these situations, if you just take that minute to renew your intention and, tell yourself that I want to balance these two things of respecting their privacy but still being there for them. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. بسم الله. How many of us want to be appreciated for who we are? How many of us want to be respected and honored? How many of us want to be valued for all that we stand for and treated well by everyone around us? I'm not talking about people who are extremely social and work hard for people's pleasure just for that sake, and want recognition and want power just so they can, work for people's pleasure. But I'm talking about that innate need that exists in all people, where we just want to be respected for who we are. And this goes across all lines, no matter your religion, no matter your gender, no matter your color, no matter what background you come from. You have that natural need to be respected by those around us. And so, how do we build that respect? How do we get other people to treat us with that dignity that we want? And the answer lies in building our character. Simple words to describe a lifelong journey. If we want people to treat us in a way of respect and dignity, then we just need to focus on building our character. Because when you work to establish your good character, to be a well-mannered person, to be a person of virtue, then not only have you gained the respect of those closest to you, of your family, your friends, the people in your society, but you've also gained the respect of people who don't even know you, people who might even have reasons to dislike you, but they still have no choice but to respect you because of who you have developed yourself to be. And what greater example could I give to explain this than that of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, where even his worst enemies, who were always fighting against him and his message, who did whatever they could to bring him down, who at points wanted to see him killed, they had no choice but to recognize his honor and his good character, so that when they were asked about him, they could not deny his honesty, his trustworthiness, all the good attributes of his good character. To the point that when they needed someone to keep their wealth safe, when they had a lot of money that they needed to trust somebody to watch it for them, they could not find anyone better than the Prophet ﷺ to trust with their most prized possession and have him take care of it. Because they know that not only will he watch it for them and guard it, but that he will return it to them exactly the way he received it. So what was this character of the Prophet ﷺ? And his wife Aisha radiallahu anha, she described it to us in 3 words. She said, كَانَ خُلُقُهُ الْقُرْآنِ. His character was Qur'an. Everything that he embodied, all of his personality traits, they stemmed from the Qur'an. So for me, that is the purpose of this series. I hope that we can develop ourselves, develop our characters, recognize the flaws that we have, recognize the current struggles that we face every day when it comes to developing ourselves and building who we are. And that we are able to overcome these struggles through the guidance of the Qur'an, so that we are accepted despite our differences, so that we are respected for all that we are and all that we stand for. And so I hope that, inshallah, by Allah's will, we will be able to discover what these different character traits are and use the Qur'an to guide us to develop these best traits. so that we too can embody the best of character and the best of manners. I want to end this by reminding myself first before anyone else the importance of renewing our intention as we start this new chapter, and that we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us discover our own character flaws, to find the way to overcome them, so that we can have the best character possible. Jazakumullahu khairan. Thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.